over the past couple of years, we have seen some truly horrendous character designs in video games, and that's not something that the average consumer wants to see. That's not what they want to spend their money on. And now, in direct opposition to industry standards, the Final Fantasy character designer Tetsuya Nomura is saying video game characters should be attractive, which I think most of us can agree with. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, this is something I definitely can get behind. Over the past couple of years on my YouTube channel, I have spoken so much about female and male character designs being butchered, not being the way they were even a decade or a decade and a half ago. Look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League versus the other amazing Arkhamverse games. Look at the older Harley Quinn designs in games like Arkham City versus what they turned her into in Kill the Justice League. It is absolutely grotesque what they are doing with female characters. Never mind male characters half the time now being little soy boy losers when I just want to see shads. But now we actually have another industry veteran coming out and echoing these sentiments. This is a Bounding Into Comics article. It says, honest question, who hasn't noticed the recent video game industry trend of devs making their characters, especially the female ones, outright unattractive hybrids of masculine and feminine features? And I say this all the time, not every single female character needs to be a 10 out of 10 bombshell beauty. You can have characters that look more masculine. You can have female characters that might be, not conventionally beautiful, but at the same time, when a developer simply wants to make a big titty waifu who's got an absolutely gorgeous character model, that should not be a problem, and that should not lead to them being forced to self-censor their content in order to get it released on certain platforms. Unfortunately, if you look at Steam, they do ban a lot of video games. If you look at PlayStation, they do ban a lot of video games where they force developers to censor their content, something I've talked about since the beginning of my channel. That's not changing anytime soon, but we should be able to have ugly characters, and we should also be allowed to have attractive characters, especially if that's what a creative wants to make. It says, though, while it seems that many devs, particularly those in the West, are gung-ho on pushing this aesthetic, for a famed Final Fantasy series character designer Nomura stands opposed to this uglification design philosophy, which is something I definitely agree with. I personally prefer seeing attractive characters in my video games, and it's always funny to me because there are those within the industry who will say, oh, we don't want to see characters that objectify women and that, make a mockery of a woman just because she's basically naked. And it's so disgusting to have a fictional character in something like a chain mail bikini. We don't want this content to appeal to the male gaze, but as a woman myself, I love seeing female characters in basically nothing. I love seeing them in chainmail bikinis. I love seeing them in tight short shorts and a crop top. It does not matter to me as long as it fits the aesthetic of the story and it ultimately makes sense to the story. It's time to whip out the meme that I made just a few weeks ago. It's okay to objectify fictional characters because they're already objects. This is my philosophy, and judging by the interactions, it's a lot of other people's as well because it has over 600,000 views and 30,000 likes, so that's at least 30,000 gamers who would generally agree with what I'm saying. Funny enough, the journos in the industry never get the amount of likes that I do, but I'm not here to brag. I'm just stating. It seems that my opinion and Nomura's opinions are the favored ones. It says, though, for those who may be unfamiliar with the name, he is renowned for his work both illustrating and directing such classic Square titles as the original Final Fantasy VII, the Kingdom Hearts series. I mean, he is very well known within the industry, but now he's decided in an interview to speak out against the state of the industry. In a recent interview with Young Jump, as Machines Translated by DeepL, he was asked if there was anything you keep in mind when designing a protagonist, to which he admitted that he held a given character's visual appeal as was one of his top design priorities. The reason I make my protagonists good looking is that in high school, a classmate of mine was playing a game and the protagonist wasn't very good looking, he recalled. My friend said, "Why does he have to be ugly in the game world too?" And that really made an impression on me. From that experience, I thought, I want to be cool in the game, and that's how I designed my protagonist. And I agree, when I'm playing a video game, I want to see an enhanced version of in this case, human, right? Because there are different, races, and there's aliens in video games and all these different things. But when I'm just playing as like a human-esque character, I want to play as an enhanced version. I want to play as a super strong, manly man, or a beautiful bombshell of a female character. And that should not be bad. That should not be frowned upon. And it is by the mainstream. Unfortunately, Japan has definitely fallen quite a bit over the past couple of years. There are a lot of Japanese companies like Square Enix, for example, who chase the ESG dollars, who do push DEI initiatives into their content, but there are still some that are really great. And then you have creatives like this who are not afraid to speak their mind and, defend their opinions. And same thing happens in the West. Having passionate developers in the West who are, vocal about their stance, they're really few and far between, but there are still a couple, though it is always amazing to see someone as renowned as Nomura come out and echo sentiments that gamers do share. There are so many people now that are in the industry who are afraid to speak the same opinions that gamers have, even though they're trying to sell games to us and they need us in order to make them money. And honestly, this really just comes across as like this massive defense for gamers, which is something that is very rare nowadays. This is a sentiment that has been echoed so many times. Over the past couple of years, gamers have called out so many titles that have super ugly designs or designs that were altered, like this Pokemon Go situation. The players demanded Niantic reverse the rolled out avatar changes, saying, "Why y'all make everybody ugly?" We had games like Concord released with the ugliest character designs imaginable, and that title failed and everybody was roasting them for it. We also have the Marvel Wolverine game, playable character Jean Grey, getting the ugly treatment. And these games, almost every single time, receive massive criticism and do lose out on money. Where on the flip side, if you have super attractive characters in a game like Stellar Blade, for example, and the First Descendant, it brings a lot of attention to the title and does make developers money. So, of course, this is not some like new statement by, any means in the world of video games. We have seen so many developers say that they prefer to make pretty characters, and I think that that is perfectly fine. Honestly, I think that's great because I prefer to play as pretty characters or attractive characters, and it's good to see developers feel the same exact way, at least in some cases, because again, there are a lot who think that ugly is the future because they want to make titles for modern audiences, but the modern audience doesn't exist. So I will be keeping my eye on this to see if he makes another follow-up statement, but this is something I definitely agree with. But that's all that I had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.